Temperamental Mars is retrograde in emotional Cancer, and the people of the world on fire. So are the Pacific Palisades. It's time to dive into what the fuck is going on. Keep streaming for LOL.
I don't just talk stuff and repeat stuff. I'm living this stuff.
And you can thank me for covering your astro.
Leading out.
Hello, welcome back to Leading Out Loud, the show where a brilliant psychic medium and a fascinating astrologer dives into current issues and then stumbles over our lines. Hey, Scott, how you doing, man? I hear your sinuses are running like the Colorado River.
I'm like, they're running like your hairline at the moment. It's pretty high up there.
big flares. Yeah.
I'm trying to breathe, so you might hear me sniffling, getting some teas. Look at my, it says squad goals here. Can you see that?
Oh, okay. I think it's backwards in my image, so.
It's backwards. You have to flip the camera, but got my girls here to keep me warm.
Great. Yeah. I thought I was dyslexic there for a second. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on, man. The energy is intense, and we'll be talking about that today. You know, we're going to be actually talking about finding our tribe today. That's our topic. We have Aquarius coming up around the corner, and we have a lot of shifts going on. We have a new conscious timeline basically launching with the full moon that's going to happen. And we want to talk about, you know, where you find your tribe because we're in a new timeline. How's that happen? And then later, what the bleep is going on with the Pacific Palisades? Why are there fires scattered all around Southern California? Who's starting these fires or what's starting these fires? We're going to put our psychic mind on it as well. But first, let's talk about this me damned cosmic energy, Scott. I'm wondering, what do you know, I'd like to just know your just impression. You know, one thing here at Serious Joy is that we're constantly trying to report on consciousness, and consciousness has ebbs and flows, ups and downs, and people don't realize it. One of the first things people realize when they join my service, for instance, is they thought it was them. They thought it was all them that was the issue. And in fact, really, there's weather in consciousness. Consciousness has ebbs and flows, and you are a person. Put your psychic finger into that. In this last week, just for our psychic surf report, what have you been experiencing on your live shows and with your clients?
Yeah, and I like that you said that because we all have cycles, right? So, of course, consciousness have cycles. And if there's no movement, there's no dynamic, it's flat line. We're dead, right? So we're going to have ups and downs. So it's kind of how we weather the down moment. And so past week has been kind of a down moment in that sense because there's been a lot of people under the weather too. But like, of course, with the fires, which I did predict last week, by the way. They should do a flashback.
You did. You predicted more fires.
Production needs to be go up there so you can do a flashback like Bravo.
Next time you make a prediction, I'm going to push down and see if you can see where too.
I was hoping you would do that. When I
will do that. I'll sort of help qualify a little bit because I think if you just would ask the question, you would have maybe seen it. Yeah.
And so I've been seeing a lot of people very, still with the tired energy, but then now there's anxiety energy. There's been a lot more conflict in that sense when it comes to people. So I still feel like it's getting, resituated. People kind of are starting their own fires figuratively too. So I find people, including me a couple of times, more sensitive than usual too. So I just think that's kind of the angst starting. That's the movement of 2025 starting. So we've gone to this like hibernation period. We've gone through this period of being kind of tired. Now we're also kind of like feeling this angst. And so it's going to be rubbing people the wrong way or starting, some sort of our own figurative fires in a sense. But that's what but it's also, you think of the 6, Mars went into Cancer, so people are being very emotional now too. So
that's exactly, you stole my line. Mars is retrograde right now, and for those who don't understand what that means, it literally means it looks like it's moving backwards in the sky, but it ultimately means that our ego energy, our can-do energy, our motivational energy is turned inside out, and composed against Cancer energy, turned inside out against emotion. Now, a retrograde tends to allow us to see where the fire started, basically. And that's been my coaching. People are getting really upset. People are being a little more explosive by little things that honestly are not that big of a deal. And I feel like what's happening is because Mars is retrograde and the ego is retrograde, when something happens here, it's actually bringing up all the times in your life that it's happened.
Yeah.
And you don't realize that. You don't realize that there's an emotional history there. And so when people, when people are freaking out that and honking at the green light, they're really upset of all the times they've been held back by traffic, all the times they've been held back by family, all the times they've been held back by situations. Right. So these are the emotional fires going on in humans right now. Right. The agenda of Mars is our happiness. I think the agenda of the planets is our happiness always. The truth is that we harbor these feelings and we don't say anything, or we don't say what we really want to say. And so as a result, they build up. In fact, it's my opinion that repressed emotion, which is cancer, is what causes cancer. I really believe that. Oh, totally. I believe that it poisons the organs. It poisons, and eventually the DNA just goes nuts because you have been holding in that feeling. So, as far as the astrology is concerned, we're moving up to a full moon in Cancer, which means the volume is going to go up, right? As far as the intensity, as the moon's light gets bigger, it turns up the volume of emotion. People who are harboring resentment or any type of thing are going to sort of it's going to pop. It's going to pop that emotional bubble between now and Monday the 13th. Mm-hmm. And Mars is sort of stirring the pot, poking the bear and whatnot. The answer really, and I'll just put that out, and I want to hear you, Scott, what the answer is that you have to respond to yourself, not the instigator, because ultimately you're the only one who can help yourself. You're the only one that can relieve the emotion, and it's a choice. And this will lead to our next topic, finding my tribe. It's a choice, and it's time now to not let things get to us, not let things build up, to not let someone else's mistake take away our power. What advice do you give to people who are hyper emotional?
I mean, it's easier said than done, right? Because we can always say this occurred, so let me be objective in the moment, so we can say that. But at least that doesn't mean you shouldn't try to apply it either. At least you get yourself on board to accept the aspect of, when I'm in a triggered moment, let me be objective to understand where is that deep within myself. You may not do it the next time it happens, but at least right after you might do it. So I think many people tend to judge themselves too much because they were triggered or they said the wrong thing, or, after it's all said and done, to be less judgmental about it, just be objective about it too, because an apology can go a long way and change your behavior can go a long way depending on who you're interacting with. So I think just remaining objective, to that regard, because I always say the goal is to be objective and unaffected, but that's not always going to be the case in this physical world. So don't beat yourself up if you did react in a certain way. Just, I would say, learn from each moment. It sounds cliche and simple, but how many people actually do that? Right. Mm-hmm. And I think because it's so overly simple, people just like, oh, yeah. I've heard it before, but it actually is. When I start developing that, I catch myself getting heated. I'm like, okay, moving on, moving on. Let's resolve this and fluff it down. Instead of it lasting like a week, now it lasts about an hour, and so sometimes 5 minutes. So we're human. We're going to feel that pressure. And I think the most important thing that, Christopher, is for people to understand, it's okay to feel pressure too. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, we're going to feel pressure. We're swimming in this density. Sometimes the waters will get murky and dense, and that's okay. Just be more perceptive how you wish to navigate in those times. Again, ups and downs. How do you want to, handle that down moment? So
I like your point about judgment because, first of all, Capricorn is judgment. Capricorn is judgment. Capricorn is Saturn. Saturn energy is the energy that makes a decision. You're a freaking idiot. And then from that decision, there's consequences, right? And I think what people are blind to is they don't realize there's been some invisible decision made. And so they're all reacting to this decision, and they don't think about, I could just move the decision. Like, why that? Saturn is at 15 degrees Pisces right now, which is actually pushing for peace. Yeah. And the irony of whenever the planets push for peace is that's when shit hits the fan.
Right. Exactly.
And it's so funny. Saturn, but what it comes down to is, for instance, let's just move the deadline. Who said it had to be this? Who said it had to be that? Taking back your power to decide, you make the decision, the best decision for yourself. Well, so-and-so wants this and so-and-so wants that. Well, then let's just move it again. Like, who cares? Like, we have the power to decide what we will do or what we won't do. And, this season of Capricorn is the first free season. Pluto had moved through Capricorn for 15 years, which was basically, stirring up all these hardcore control decisions. The truth is that we are coming out of control. We are coming out of others' top-down control of us. And we humans here who have been stuck at the bottom forget that we have the right to decide where it goes. We can decide for ourselves, and the magic words are, it's okay. It's okay.
Right.
Who cares? It's okay. People go, how do you do forgiveness? You just say it's okay. But I just burned down the house. It's okay. And we got insurance.
Right.
You take away the power from that decision. You take your power back by, looking, where's the decision? What wall, what line am I beating my head against? Maybe I'm not the problem. Maybe the wall is.
Well, and that's a good point, because also when it comes to when you're dealing with people and maybe you feel like they're triggering you, you're being triggered by them, like there could be something else that's triggering them that's they're kind of expressing to you, and it's not you. So if we don't end up, if we don't take things so personally all the time, it's not always directed at us. And so we're all pressured by so many different things. And I've learned through the years, because, what I think just comes out of my mouth. So
that's for sure.
Yeah, always. So there's a lot of nothing coming out now. But a lot of times I found myself before just like reacting in stress from something else, but then I was kind of expressing that in conversation without being conscious of that, and so people are like, why are you upset? I'm like, I'm not upset. I'm actually pretty happy. But I realized it was the past things that was being expressed. So we need to be clear about, a lot of times people are doing that too unconsciously. And is it really you? Is it really because you could be the one that could turn it around actually and create a better rapport, So being a fiery Puerto Rican Italian from New York, I definitely taken my time to learn that, fiery, get it? Haha.
No, you are. Yeah. I felt it. I'm scorched. Well, it's interesting is, in this Capricorn moment, we actually have the freedom to change our lives right now, even though we don't know. So people need to know, like, you can change your life. You don't have to deal with any of this stuff.
Right.
And with Saturn and Pisces at 15, it means it's time now to accept the new timeline. And so what I want to tell everyone out there is, if you're frustrated, take a step back and ask yourself, why am I in this position in the first place? Do I have to be in this position in the first place? We subconsciously allow ourselves to get called into these things, and we allow ourselves to be herded like cattle. And, we're going to be moving into Aquarius here. And Aquarius is the, the energy that is the, how do I put this? I don't want to say dumbest, because, but the truth of the matter is that Earth has forgotten we were asleep. We don't understand Aquarius. And Aquarius energy is, there's a magical force called the law of attraction. And the Aquarius symbol tells you what it is. 2 hearts that beat as one belong. 2 hearts that don't beat as one don't belong. But we had rulers like Genghis Khan and all, and George Bush, I was kidding, who pushed us to be in situations that we don't belong. Right. And so in that situation we don't belong, we start blaming each other when we don't belong there in the friggin' first place. Right. So the magic I didn't want to deliver to people is that your heart knows where you belong, and your heart knows where you don't belong. The core issue is we're letting our mind make choices. We're letting our feelings make choices. If we asked our heart, do I really want to be here? Most of these fires would not be happening.
True. And, people think too, because they're reacting or feel anger, that's coming from the heart. That's the heart reacting to being deprived. Right. And so that's where the emotion is deriving from. So, we think heart just means that we're fluffy duffy. Sometimes when you feel like repressed by something or triggered by something, it's your heart saying, I deserve better. And so it's like, for my example, a lot of times I get triggered because I feel like people just demand so much of me sometimes, or misunderstood, right? And so I think I'm in that moment, I get triggered. And my heart's really saying, Scott, you don't have to worry about how people perceive of you or what people expect of you. Let that go. Like, that's the real message in a moment like that. Not so much trying to prove people, wrong and prove people that they're wrong about me. So that's the thing I realized, that the heart's really telling you what it needs, even through that negative emotion, If you're willing to look at the flip side of that, at least get your intellect prepared to do so in moments, either during or after, you'll start mastering, your reactions a lot better, and what you're reacting to.
Agree. If you listen to your heart, and it's a very simple message, but it's a very complicated and hard thing to do in a moment, because we're not trained to listen to our heart. If we were all living on like a paradise island and just eating fruit and having sex all the time, we'd be in our heart. Right. So, but humans have been survival and all kinds of stuff. And again, assholes trying to control the world have pulled us away from our heart, withdrawn from our heart. And so I would say, and this is what our main message is, we have a full moon coming up. Let's talk about the energies and what you pick up. We have a full moon coming up this Monday, the 13th. It's going to apex around 5 p.m. Eastern. It's at 23 degrees. And what it's calling for is for us to release a vision you had about the future. And I have to say, sometimes astrology hits some people and doesn't hit other people. This particular moon hits everyone. And this goes into our next topic, the tribe. Everyone out there, I don't care who you are, your idea of what the future is likely wrong. And when I say wrong, I mean not aligned with what your heart wanted. It's not aligned. You made it under pressure circumstances. You made it because you were accommodating others. You made it because your boss did this, blah, blah. Everyone is heading for the wrong town. Everyone is heading for the wrong goal. And it's wrong because you weren't healed when you made these choices. And now you have the opportunity to make a good one. So let's all just agree that we may be incorrect about our vision of the future. And emotion is going to get more and more intense, and more things will break down, and more people will be pissed off if you're on the wrong path. So what we want to talk about between now and the next time we come together is listening to your heart in those little moments. And what I recommend is ask your heart to make the choice for everything, from what's in your coffee to what you're going to watch on TV.
I agree. And kind of go with that, my advice is like, whatever you're desiring, ask yourself what place is that desire coming from? Because we give birth to a lot of desires to spite trauma, right? Or to spite the things of our past. Well, because I just want to do this now and I want to be a whore, instead of having a monogamous relationship. So because I've been cheated on, it's like, but that's coming from a deprivation. That's not what you really want, Right. So you'd be surprised. I mean, a lot of people be surprised how many people don't really know what they want. And so,
everyone. I mean, right. I mean, ask people, what's your heart? When I ask that question, what's your heart want? The common answer is, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And so, but kind of diving deep into that, because, we have a lot of intellectual wants, and they're just, again, because of past repressions, past deprivations. And if we're objective not to kind of like do those upgrades, you know what I mean? And say, but do I though? Like, then you'll understand why your path is aligning to where it's aligning from. And you understand from the heart that, oh, I've been single because I never really wanted a relationship. I feel like I had to. I was giving myself too much of a push because of something wrong I didn't have one. It's like, I actually need to be single for a while. I can now see why my path is aligning the way it is, because the heart's going to get what it wants either way, whether you're resistant to it or not. The soul knows. So we don't want to be dragging ourselves through the mud. So yes, I definitely would start checking in with the things that you say you want right now, and ask yourself, from what place is that coming from?
Yeah, actually, and I want to make a little addendum to what you just said. Not what you want, what you wish. And the reason why I say wish is because I've discovered in my work that only the heart can wish. The mind can't wish. The ego can't wish. Wishing is like a magical thing. That word somehow gets to the magic of things. So if you say, I wish I could just do this, that's your heart talking. Your heart is talking the wish. And by the way, this is reality. From my understanding, you can create anything. We're at a very important time right now, because in Capricorn, as we move into the end of Capricorn, we're going to be making decisions, and to the 20th. On the 20th, the sun moves into Aquarius. And this particular Aquarius season is profound, okay? Profound in the sense of miracles can happen, things can transmute. I mean, Pluto in that space, Pluto adding, Aquarius is already the law of attraction. When you add Pluto, which is the ability to change the line and change the rules, now you have a question mark of anything can happen. So right now in Capricorn, we must decide to let our heart choose, because in Aquarius, the law of attraction is all based on the heart and what the heart is beating for and what the heart is wanting. So our advice for the next week is let your heart choose everything, because once Aquarius hits on the 20th, God Universe is going to start reorganizing reality like you have never seen before. Never. Things you would never imagine could happen. And this is going to be the magic and excitement of 2025. And actually, that leads me to my plug. This weekend, I'm giving a final warning. The Countdown 2025 webinar will be on this Saturday. This is where I will dive in deep and give you a roadmap to how to maximize 2025. I'm not just trying to sell tickets here. This is maybe the most important year of your life, because the universe is really doing a cosmic split. This we're going to talk about here, about finding my tribe, and really starting to sort people according to their heart. There's going to be some difficult times. There's going to be some headwinds coming in. And what I'm going to do on Saturday in a live webinar is for all 12 signs, I'm going to go through all the major dates of the year. So bring your calendar. I'm telling you, everyone, bring your calendar to the event. Buy a new calendar so you can kind of mark. I'm not only going to give you the event, I'm going to give you like when you need to start thinking about it and when you need to actually be there for it. And the crazy thing about consciousness, it's not a lot of work. It's just awareness. So if you're aware you need to know this by this date, everything will unfold. If you're aware you have to know this by that date, everything will unfold. So I recommend invest in yourself. I have to tell you right now, I will not be as available for readings. I will not be available as for my other stuff because in 2025, I'm going to sail away in my own dreams and do what I want to do. So if you're interested, go to senseiChristopher.com, purchase a ticket right now. The webinar will be available for you for the entire year on video, and it'll be a guide for your happiness in 2025. Thank you. Thank you, Scott, for letting me indulge in that.
Oh, sorry. It's nice to snap out of that. Took a nap real quick, but that was great. Fantastic.
Thank you. So what should we talk about my tribe, or should we talk about the fires first?
Let's get the fires out of the way because
let's put the fire out. Yeah. So there are fires going off in Pacific. Last night I'm in Palm Springs with you, and I was like, well, that's a really weird cloud formation. I think it was smoke. I don't know, but it was like weird cloud formations. There are fires going off in the Pacific Palisades. Now, isn't this funny? This is one of the wealthiest neighborhoods in the United States, suddenly on fire. That's odd. And the fires are spreading. I don't know, Adam, if you can bring up the map of the fires. Like, the fires are like in weird spots. Like, okay. And California has a water problem, but didn't we have a lot of rain, as of late? This year? Like, didn't we fill the reservoirs back up?
Well, that too, and just rained a few days ago too. So before this, and so and this isn't usually. I lived in Hollywood Hills for 18 years, and now in Palm Springs. But we don't get. This is not fire season, right now.
It's not fire season. And I'm thinking back. Yeah, I don't remember. I mean, I went to film school and I learned a lot of history of Hollywood, and I don't recall Hollywood ever being on fire. Like this, like that part of it. So. Energetically, let's just cut to the chase. Like psychically, what do you feel is going on?
Well, last week, right, when I saw the fires, and you remember you asked me, it's like kind of like Malibu type fires. I was like, yes, right, because that was something. I'm glad you asked that question too.
I said Hawaii type fire.
Yeah, Hawaii. Right?
Yeah, mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Not Hawaii type fires. And I was like, yes, and I was like, and I said, I just saw that kind of like being a big thing, and then. This is similar to me in that sense because, my personal read and feeling is it is controlled. It doesn't feel natural especially because there have been reports that it started in someone's backyard or something, and the fact there's fires here now, there's a fire in Hollywood Hills where I used to live. It's like, there's a big gap between the fires there. And then there's a fire over here. So the way they're situated, it seems rather unique to me. Yeah. So I do feel like this has to be more political because it happened the day after January 6th, when Trump got, sworn, like at least, finalized and on the 6th. And so it happened on the 7th, the fire started. So politically, the timing's rather suspicious. And also because Newsom was, trying to de-Trumpify or something. I think they said California. So Trump was saying he's not going to send any aid for fires if that occurs, unless he doesn't do that. So I just feel like it's all retaliation in that sense, and so I think a lot of it has to do with political things. Like you said, a lot of the wealthy homes been burnt down. And so, I really feel like it's really, really more about political. The time is just too suspicious for me, too unique, this timing on this.
Yeah, my own, I do smell a rat, several rats. And I do feel, I'll just say for 2025, I mean, we're in Capricorn, which is about control and control games. So, so people tend to, make snap judgments, Capricorn, or execute long-term plans, Capricorn. So I think what we're seeing here is what we're going to see in the future. I really do feel, folks, it's not a conspiracy, it's a business plan. There are sort of plans to try to control people and keep people under control. And one thing about 2025 is it's not going to work. It's just not going to work. In fact, that we're talking about on the air right now, it's just not going to work.
But and I said that in my live show a couple of weeks ago. Like, we're going to see a lot of this turmoil, this tension, turmoil, these political and societal events occurring. But it's not going to work. We've been here before too, several times. But and I just also thought it was odd that Biden was in town when these fires occurred. Then he left town the next day, and the mayor of LA was in Africa celebrating a presidency in Africa, but not in her own city when the fires are happening. So it just seems suspicious in that way. But we need to understand, look beyond these occurrences occurrences and understand like, okay, there's natural disasters, but is this one? Like, we need to at least take a step back, because we can easily label something as a conspiracy because it doesn't sound rational. But if we just be objective and watch people's behaviors and watch, and sit back and be objective about, does it really make sense? You can let your intuition, your heart speak and let you know something doesn't seem quite right here. It can lead you more to the truth.
Yes. It's funny. I don't want to go dive too deep down this, but I've had conversations with people about the Earth and global warming and things like that. And I have a very strong sense that there absolutely is weather control going on in the world.
Oh yeah.
We know HARP, going on in Alaska. Yeah. We're bouncing off, we're bouncing microwaves off the top of the ionosphere or whatever. So I really feel like there's a lot of misplay going on. I feel like we have the ability to steer a hurricane into the Carolinas.
Yeah. Have you seen also like the radars, like the last time it was fires, the radars were showing like this like laser beam that was like that started fires, and then like only like the blue objects were not being lit on fire,
Yes.
So yeah.
That's what I've heard. Yeah. It's hard, I wish there's some, but yeah, and Oprah Winfrey, painted her roof blue right before the Hawaiian fires, and her house didn't burn down.
Right.
Guys, we got to really step back and start smelling the rats going on here. Ultimately, my heart says, you don't have to jump to conspiracy theory, but don't believe what you're told either. Let's stay in the middle as a people. Let's take our power back. Let's lead out loud. Let's actually stay silent and not clap at the politician on stage, and let them be a little nervous for once. Right. It's time to call our leadership and for them to do what they want. So,
and I knew friends that were firefighters, and they would do like controlled fires in LA and start fires. They do it over here in Palm Springs sometimes too. So it does exist. So someone's like, it's not suspicious. That's how fires occur. Yeah, they occur when someone starts it, for sure. And especially the news is saying, oh, it started in someone's backyard, Yeah. And then we had the winds and all that stuff. So, we do need to be more discerning on this, for sure.
So, this is a great, interesting. I just had the transition here. I believe, once upon a time, I had a guest on my show last week on Namaste Today Live, who was an Atlantean expert. Oh. And she was talking about Atlantis, and I believe Atlantis fully existed, and it was a magical city. I mean, it was a magical continent because it was sort of given technology and knowledge from aliens, and so it was a really high vibration, and their dark forces came into Atlantis. People with agendas, and her point was, I'm leading to, is those same people, because Atlantis did not complete its karmic cycle, okay, the law of the universe is you must complete it. So if you're building this high vibration society and it gets destroyed by an asshole, you have to then rebuild the high vibrant society and not let it get built, brought down. Therefore, right now in our current lifetime, we have the same people who are trying to bring down the continent, and we have the same people who are trying to rescue the continent. And you and I were there. We got off. We got off on one of the last boats, and you were seasick the whole time. The point is, that we are now at that magical point again, where it's time to activate the Atlantean timeline. Mm-hmm. And so people are in place. You and I are in place. This time we've got dry land. We're in the middle of the desert. You're not going to. And in that sense, people are now beginning to migrate to find their tribe. We have completed our karmic issues. We have learned what we can from basically the Dark Ages. So the Dark Ages from Atlantis until now. We got beat up, we got raped, we got blah, blah. All of your life, everyone watching, was all about healing the Dark Ages until now. Now, as we go into Aquarius on the 20th, we're being called to reinstate the Atlantean timeline, which means that it's time to find our tribe. We've got a lot of things to talk. So Scott and I want to talk about today, how do you find your tribe? I know a lot of us feel very alone and isolated, and we don't have simpatico with people. What's the first step you think to finding your tribe?
Well, first I'm going to say too, like these things like fires, remember COVID, they move people around, right?
It force people to migrate. Yeah.
So like these things are allowed in our species, in our world, because it's also a benefit to what needs to help the collective too. Yep. So even though there's those trying to control, like it's still part of our destiny to experience this as we're like maneuvering around these things, right? And so, but the first thing with following your tribe, it's like, what is your vibe? I think many people don't know what their vibe is. Like, I just need to meet new people. I'm like, but what kind of people? Because you might be focused on people who are completely in a different league. I don't mean like a better league, but you might be attracted to people who are more about partying, but you might be more weird, So are you weird or not? So the first thing is to like really understand your vibe. What's your essence? And then when you're in that modality of essence, then you can understand to look for people that are like you. And I see a lot of people having problems when they're meeting people that are so contrary to them, right? And because they're meeting people based on, trauma and unresolved trauma, and trying to put people in places that their parents weren't, in the sense, and so, but understand what your true vibe is going to be the first major essence of, of
Yeah,
how
and
you.
what your heart is calling for. I mean, the vibe
Yeah.
comes from the heart. So y'all, the heart has a, Joe, what's that? I can't remember his name. I can't remember the name of the practitioner now, but talks about heart and brain consciousness and alignment. The heart itself has a field. Your heart has this energetic field that it's putting out all the time.
Right.
And that energetic field is looking for its like kind. The age of Aquarius is, those two waves are, when two hearts beat as one, they belong together. When hearts don't beat as one, they don't belong together. Therefore, what is your heart beating for? Yeah, Joe Dispenza. Thank you very much, Adam. Joe Dispenza, who I like a lot. And I'll just say right now, for instance, I'll share mine. I was in Denver. My heart wasn't happy. My heart wasn't happy in Austin. My heart wasn't happy with my family. I felt obligated to be with my family. I felt obligated. I let obligations tie me down. And then I decided to go tour and meet some of my contractors. So I flew to Palm Springs, and here was Krista and Scott, and my heart was just lit up. And I was like, I don't belong in Denver. I belong in Palm Springs. I belong here. This is where I belong because my heart feels happy, and this is where I need to be. It was a hard call or whatever, because California has a lot of politics. I don't like the government, so much I don't like. But I let my heart rule over that. So a lot of migration. So the first thing we'll say is, listen to your heart. If you're not happy where you are in your job, in your relationship, or whatever, this is your chance. This is your chance.
Right. But also, like, even your vibe, it could be environmental too, right? Because
You mean like place on Earth.
Yeah, because I feel like that's gonna be a lot of 2025, like people
Yes.
being attracted to like their ley lines, wherever they're feeling this energetic pull, right? So, and that's why I feel like astrocartography would be really needed in 2025 for a lot of people.
What
but
was
like
that? Astrocartography. Okay.
yeah, because I think it's gonna help a lot of people because people are like looking to find their tribe, but in a sense, the location is gonna be where the tribe is first, right? And so,
Yes.
like I know I need to be around mountains, and like you said before, I always run toward the mountains in every life that I've lived. And
You always run through the mountains, guys.
Mountains
I always have to
and
climb
trees.
a fucking mountain to see my friend.
Yeah, exactly. So, and so I understand about myself, and I'm embracing that more, what I need. And I understand there's also the same people who want the same vibe too. You find the similar people around those environments. So
Yeah.
absolutely. I think location is kind of key to your vibe.
I agree. So if people don't know what astrocartography is, there's a science in astrology where you apply your chart to the whole Earth. So it's like it wraps your chart around the whole Earth. And so you can see where parts of your soul gravitate to and parts of your soul push away from. And by the way, there's themes. So I didn't even, when I first got astrology, I didn't even follow astrocartography. And I've really became clear in Austin because Austin, Texas is my Chiron line. So my Chiron energy runs right through Austin. And I literally subconsciously felt this call out of nowhere to move to Austin right on my Chiron return. I moved there. I broke down on my Chiron return. I left. So here in California is my north node. So the direction my life needs to go is right in Southern California, right along the Palm Springs line. But there's also other forces at work too. The Earth actually stores memories of past lives in the location you lived. So Mother Earth actually stores it in the molecules or whatever. So a lot of times when people get called, like, I'm going to go to Europe, they're getting called to release, to remember that you arrive in Europe, boom, past life memories open up and become activated. It's stuff you're resenting. You have to purge it. So we get called to where the part of the earth, where Mother Earth wants to work with us. That's part of it. And then I got a reading from Mary Magdalene through Krista. And Mary Magdalene was like, yeah, we sent you to Palm Springs because of the crystals in the hills. And it's so funny. I met like 4 random people and they're like, did you know there's crystals in the hills here? I'm like, no, I didn't know this was a energetic vortex. So, so again, I was called to where my crown chakra could open up, where I could, really breathe, if you will.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I definitely had, because of upward vortex here, I definitely felt my calling become more realized here more than ever, and things I've been resisting, the inspiration to pull that out of me. So yeah, I've definitely felt that energy here for sure too, you know, in
It's
that regard.
magical. There is a magical energy here, for me, anyways. And that's the thing. There are certain places that are magical. And I have to say, you know, I was a kid that used to like turn on the radio and dream about the future. And somewhere in the last 10 years, I lost all that. It's back here in Palm Springs. I literally get brilliant ideas and funny jokes come to me. So it's like when you're in the right place in the world where you're vibing with the energy, the best of you comes out. The right place brings the best of you out of you.
Right.
So I think that's a very important thing with my tribe. Your tribe may be somewhere else.
Yeah, and I'm saying, what's your vibe? Your vibe will lead you to the location, which leads you to the people. And so, but the next thing too, like people need to be very focused on too, is intention. Like, what is your intention for what you're trying to bring in your life? You know?
Yes.
And so a lot of people just very kind of blind faith and saying, I just want to meet nice people. It's like, well, there's a lot of nice people that still screw you over. Or there's a lot of nice people that will like hog your time and lead you down a path that, you know, you might be unconscious to have bad influence. So intention setting is important with finding your tribe too. What type of people does that look like for you? And so this sounds simple too, Christopher, right? But how many people, like we said before, don't know what they want, right? And so therefore, how easy is it for those who don't know what they want to set intentions? Well, they don't know what they want. So I always say it's not so much about who you want. It's like, who are you? Right. Again, it goes back to your vibe thing, because if you understand I'm this person, so I don't participate, then set the intention that you want to meet others that not have to be an equal match to you, but at least like inspire you in that essence, right? And can bring more out of you. Because I always say I want people who are spiritually grounded, but also bring ideas to me that I'm not aware of, or to inspire me to think outside the box too. But that's important with intentions. Many people just don't do that. Just like, I just want to meet people. And they do, and they just need a clusterfuck of people, and you know, they have a difficult time finding themselves, or they create more unnecessary complications in relationships, and that drags out time, and then they wonder why things aren't manifesting in their lives because they're stuck in that little, you know, hamster on a wheel energy. And so yeah, definitely intention is key of the types of people you're intending to bring in your life, and for what purpose too. Right.
And that intention goes again back to the heart, what the heart really wants,
right,
and what the heart is longing for. I will say, I'm meeting really incredible people here. Like, I can't believe it. And people I feel strong connections to. Again, I feel like we're in a moment where we are leaving the people you have attracted in your life up until now, folks, were based on your healing. They were not based on your serious joy, which is my buzzword for holy fucking shit, I'm happy. So you have to know, don't look at your history up until now and be like, I attract bad people, I attract hard people, I attract abusive people. No, you were attracting your dark ages karma people. You had to attract them, you had to remanifest it, you had to see what it was, you had to see how you react to it, you had to get over it. We all had to do that. Yeah. On January 20th, a new line is being drawn. That line is the sun crossing Pluto. Wabam! That's it. And that line is, okay, dark ages karma over, age of light karma start, which means you cannot assume anything you've lived in the past so far in your life is going to apply to the future. It's not. They are not at all connected. So first of all, forgive, let go, F what's happened, and realize that you can create a life now where your heart is shining and blossoming and you are following your serious joy. Now that said, I feel like we have roles, okay? We have roles. Scott and I are working together because in Atlantis, we saw it going down, and we both were trying to prevent it from happening. And now we want a second chance at that fight, and there's also special cities. So Palm Springs is a special city. There are special cities. Nashville, Tennessee is a special city. Austin, Texas is a special city. Special why? We've all agreed in heaven that we would meet there, basically. And part of it is the energy there. And I don't know. I would love people to tell me in Europe, where are the special cities now? Where will the magic happen? Do you have to live in the special city? No, but you should come visit, and go there and visit. And Serious Joy is deliberately like planning our Unite the Light 2 in Nashville. We had our Unite the Light 1 in Austin. We're deliberately planning these things in these special cities. And I want to know in Europe, I want to know in Australia, like, guys, tell me, like, where are they out there? Where the psychics know. So if you have an obsession to go somewhere, is what I'm leading to with this, go. Go visit it, because you might have past life memories and unlock there. You might meet someone important there, like timing, 100%. Like a soulmate or something. And this is a time now that Pluto's in Aquarius, that weird nudge, that weird nagging feeling is not, it's not random.
But see, that's attraction too, because there's places that are calling you. So we had to follow that attraction too. Not just what we're bringing in, but what's pulling us in too, because I've been seeing a lot of my readings for people's predictions in 2025 is helping them say you have to go to this location. There's like 3 different stops because you're going to illuminate this aspect of consciousness here. And so I've been seeing a lot of that movement in 2025 with a lot of my clients' readings and so forth. So it's so true. Even if it's just a visit, or a weekend, like we get downloads from those locations. And I always say too, it might just take a visit too to activate a part of your DNA that illuminates that power and information from a previous incarnation, and boom, you have a different perspective on life. I'm sure we've heard a lot of people say, I took this vacation, it just changed my life. I went to here and it's like, I changed my life. And it's like, yes, because you got to download it and illuminate a part of your DNA that you've been missing in this incarnation that you need in this incarnation. We can zoom back out.
Let's go back into him. That's good. Yeah, that's very true. And I would say right now, especially in 2025, there's a lot of activations going on. And those activations mean that it was sleeping dormant in your consciousness. There's a lot of, the thing about Aquarius, let's listen with, I actually just had a great, brilliant download just now. Aquarius energy, think of cell phone technology. We had 4G, we have 5G, we have 6G. Those different Gs are actually vibrating at a different level, okay? Mm-hmm. So, back in the day, we started with 3G. You could say that our lives' consciousness have been stuck in 3G since we've been born. And suddenly God has just introduced 7G, basically, which means there's all sorts of information in here that was compacted in the higher vibrations. Information, past life memories, past life relationships to aliens. There's a whole bunch of consciousness that has been asleep in these higher frequencies. Pluto moving into Aquarius is activating and vibrating these higher frequencies, which means you're going to start to have memories from ancient past. I'm talking 26,000 years ago. Right. You're going to have memories of perhaps living on other planets. I'm not kidding. I've actually had memories opening of other planets right now. I have weird memories. I met someone the other day and they're like, I'm from Sirius. I'm like, I'm from Sirius. I'm like, I think we know each other. Like, holy shift. Like, and 10 years ago, I would think I was wackadoodle for saying that. But the point is like you're being invited to. There's no way you would have known until now about these things. Right. So you're not crazy. Follow that vibe. And this year is a migration year. Like go, because you have to go to the place on Mother Earth that the Akashic record is stored to activate it.
And that's the thing about awakening too. We have access to more data and more information, and so we have to understand like your match is doing the same thing that you should be doing as well, or meeting and conjugating the same locations, those same areas. They're doing on the same timelines too, especially if it is your tribe, spiritually, your soul tribe, you're going to find each other just randomly and just at the same timing actually. Right. And so I always say we have a lot of people that are part of our tribe on the same parallel and we just come together, so, But we have to make ourselves available to that, though, Christopher, because a lot of people they're affirming in their apartments and they're like, I just daydreaming, but they're not making themselves available and they're not applying their interest. So the main thing for me is make yourself available. That means maybe take some classes of things that you really want to study. It's your own interests, right? And then maybe get yourself in those groups or environments to where, people are doing and participating in what your interest and vibe is. Mm-hmm. It's not always just a bar, but. But sometimes, and I've learned this in my younger years, that just being in your essence attracts people because, if you're like being vibrant in your purpose and it could be something silly that you're just following your purpose and it's like you're remodeling a home and you're in that essence and boom, you meet someone while you're buying pillows. Happened to me. So, and I was just studied this. I'm like, what's happening here? Like, why are people I'm always meeting people at the weirdest times, weirdest places, and they turn to something like a great experience. And the times I was trying to wouldn't happen. And I just recognized that I was just in my heart's vibration of this is how I'm participating in my life. And so everything else was just also kind of aligning in that way too. The same people were living in their heart chakra, right? And expressing from the heart. So we would commingle together. So yes, I would say make yourself available. That doesn't mean that you're just putting that light on the red light on. It doesn't mean that you're putting yourself online. It means that your heart is open to express what it needs to express. And then people could see that vibrant energy. Because so many people walk around with dim energy because they don't have any people and they're not being noticed, Right.
And I'm going to add 2 things to your point. One is a lot of times people don't want to do something because there's no boundaries drawn. Okay.
Right.
So it's like, I don't know, it's a dangerous city. Well, we'll make it not dangerous. Honestly, You mean you're going to stop your life because you're afraid of this or afraid of that? So a lot of times you just need to go, okay, I'll go there, but I'll leave at 10, or I'll go there and I'll go with a friend, or I'll go there and I'll have someone, watch me. So, if you feel a weirdness, it might be that you just need to set the boundaries because your soul's like, whoa, it needs some limits here. The other aspect is,
they might be setting too much boundaries, Christopher. They might be saying, being used to being in isolation, that they have too much boundaries. Oh, I can't because of this. And, to recognize that too, if that's also preventing you, maybe too much boundaries because of fear is preventing you from making yourself available. So that's a good point on both aspects.
Well, and sometimes those too much boundaries are dumb boundaries, dumb ones. It's like, it doesn't have to be yes or no. It can be yes, but sometimes on Tuesday, like more sophisticated boundaries, right? People like very, very, Neanderthal, and it's like, well, let's have more complex boundaries. Let's have more sophistication there. The other aspect I found out was, when we do wrong, okay, we're in Capricorn right now. So let's say you're on a diet, and you're like, I can't have too much sugar, I can't have too many calories, and all of a sudden your heart is craving ice cream, and you go, I can't have it, but your heart is asking for it, but it's wrong. But your heart is asking for it. But I'll get fat, but your heart is asking for it. I've had a couple of times in the last 2 weeks where I did wrong. I went against my rules, and I ended up meeting someone at that location that I needed to meet. I ended up finding out something I needed to know. So watch out for your own rules against yourself. If your heart wants something, that's the rule. Mm-hmm. All right? These slam rules like no sugar, no this, no that. A lot of times we miss out on things because we put this stupid Capricorn law in our life that was not flexible. And we thought, oh, I'm a loser if I don't stick to this law. I'm a loser if I don't stick to this commitment. Your heart is screaming for something right now. You're not cheating on your diet. You're ignoring your impulses of your soul, right? So I think we have to step back and say, who's the king here of my castle? Right. Or the queen.
Well, that also creates so extremes because you might say, well, my heart wants ice cream, but there's healthier alternatives to it too. You don't have to get the crappy stuff, get good stuff, And so I think that we tend to not become rational because of those self-imposed restrictions in a sense. But you're completely correct about that because maybe it's like maybe just having some good gelato is what you need to do. And then you meet a great community of people there. I tell people that all the time, because I met, like I said, through pillows, going to the restroom. I just by making these weird impulses to just go somewhere. I met my current partner just randomly going out to a bar last minute and just being open and just happened. Actually, it was a restaurant, but just I've always had those experiences and observed like, how is this happening and why? Because people thought I was a wizard because of that. And I understand what the true energy and the essence of that really is. And so I would never, like you said, put those restrictions on me,
Mm-hmm. And so, well, you're an Aquarius. So you're ruled by the law of attraction and you're ruled by following the vibe, and you're born with that, and you're a grandmaster Aquarius. You're a leader in that sense. So I would say it doesn't always apply to but you're right. Like, and I agree. It's like you can get there and change things. And by the way, you can cheat. It's okay. Go walk your ass out on a treadmill for a minute.
Yeah, I was saying when I used to do like keto for like 7 years, so like I had like 20 grams of carbs a day, and of course I grew out of that mentality. I'm like, restricted diet's never bad, but I would say like your body needs something to work towards. So it's like just like we need bad bacteria to help us to like build immunity. It's okay when the body's like, okay, I got to process this food a little bit more, and then it keeps your body strong. So yeah, we do need sometimes to put some challenge and cheat or whatever you want to call it. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Another point I want to add to is to stay open once you arrive at something new. Okay, so for instance, I have been, I've been interviewing locals here to work because I'm tired of being remote with everyone. So I'm hiring employees here in Palm Springs, and I had like this lineup of assistants to come in and interview. One guy came in to interview, and I don't even think I asked him one question. He just went off on his life and the problems of his life. I was like, this is an interview. But here's the thing, and this I want to tell people. Sometimes you're drawn to people for specific reasons. He needed a reading. He needed someone to help him see the light. And I sat there and not wasted, I'm going to say that, take that back. It was 2 hours of coaching him in an interview for a job for me, right? But I recognize, so when you get there, you have to ask your heart, why am I here? Sometimes God universe puts you in places with people because they need you or you need them or there's information there. So my ego wanted to be quick to dismiss him and send him out the door. My heart knew God has sent this person to me. This person would not have gotten it. The way he thinks, the way he's narrow-minded, he must have prayed for help And God was like, Quisto Techies, apply for this job. I'm getting goosebumps telling this story. And in that moment, two major, I changed his life. I know I changed his life. He was hurting over his male partner he lost, all these sorts of things. I feel he flew out of a cage really happy, like a little bird being let out of a cage. Right. So don't judge. Don't be quick to dismiss something because it doesn't fit your box, because right now with this Aquarius energy, the universe is trying to help everybody. Sometimes you are the one to help. Sometimes you are the one to receive help. And sometimes, there's nothing that's happened in the last couple of weeks, is things unlock when the two energies are brought together, right? Once I met you, a lot of Aquarius, a lot of Atlantis stuff just unlocked. Right. Because, I don't know, it was common ground, maybe two timelines that came together. Until I met you, they didn't unlock. And so sometimes you're just meeting people to unlock things. And because the vibration wakes it. So this person's got it active, this person's got it asleep. They get near them, and now they're both awake, and they both go places that they weren't going to go. So I think a lot of spontaneous, random things are going to happen in 2025. You're going to be called to things for just one unlocking or one healing, and to just not let your Capricorn, I wanted this, dismiss it.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. If those people who want to develop their intuition and their psychic abilities or mediumship abilities, you got to follow that heart purpose and know the calling to things and understand this is a heart calling, this is a calling from spirit, or if this is just something I'm overindulging in, I'm just attracting the same stuff. There's always some sort of benefit. Like you got to benefit from that story. It warmed your heart, so there's something in return to show to you that was divine. Right, because it's not like you feel like I've exhausted myself. It's like, no, my heart lit up too, and it awakened some part of you that you needed too. So it's always when situations come from spirit and it's from the heart, both benefit from it.
Totally,
they both benefit from it.
And at that time, I was feeling pretty low. I was just feeling pretty low, and it reminded me like I'm a magical guy, man. I'm cool,
I was going to say that.
Yeah.
You got to see in front of you, the change that you can, how you affect with the abilities that you have, and see it tangibly. Because like we do our sessions on the phone and Zoom, but face to face, when I have clients face to face, you get to see how they leave. You get to see their demeanor. You get to see, wow, there's a complete different essence to them. And so, Spirit's like, you need to see this, Christopher.
Yeah, see who you are. And how magical you are and the difference you make in people's lives. I'm weird. It's like I literally was standing on a corner one time and a woman just like screeches and stops her car and she's crying. She's like, I'm afraid, I'm terrified. I'm like, God just sends these people out of nowhere. If I'm in a grocery store, people are like, where's the beans? I'm like, do I have a uniform on? Like, there's some sort of blinking light on the ground. Yeah.
I had that happen where a woman was like rammed her car into my car and pushed me to the side, and I was kind of like, what the fuck? I got out of the car and I looked at her and she's like, I'm so sorry, and that gave her a reading on the side of the street because her son passed away. And she's like in turmoil. Like I've had universe like collide me with people like that too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so to me, that's what as an aqua, that's to me what brings fun to life to me.
Me too.
I'm like, well, what does this mean now? Like I'm always like, there's a fun part of this, and then you start recognizing that sometimes spirit does have to knock us upside the head sometimes for us to get it and to shake us up when we're in our routine. But I find that's when the most fun happens. In those modes.
And that's the magic. Seeing the magic. There was I don't know where I was, but I was random, and I was talking to a person, and they're telling me about someone that they're hurting over someone's loss, like they lost someone died, and I've got fucking Adele in my head, somewhere from the other side. Hello, I'm like I got Adele in my head. I'm like, oh, goosebumps. Like I think your friend's trying to find you right now because I got Adele playing in my head. Hello from the other side. Like there's those moments. This year, I just want to like skip to like the big picture real quick before we end up wrapping up, which is that I do believe there is ancient timelines activating, and I do believe that people have a role in this. I do believe we've been waiting 26,000 years to get back in that driver's seat, and sort of like World War II. My grandpa was in World War II. He was in the VFW, Veterans of Foreign Wars, and he made friends in that war that he cherished for the rest of his life. And my grandma did too. And my grandma who worked to help people. And I don't think we're going to go into a world war, but I do think we're going to go through a frequency war where they're, basically these two same sides, the toxic side and the light side, they are going to race. I'm calling it really a race to get the earth back under the control of light in heaven. Atlantis is very special, by the way. Watch my episode, y'all, if you didn't see Namaste Tea last week with this person. Atlantis was special. When it was created, there were psychics that connected to heaven and tuned in and got instructions, and they wrote law according to the angels and according to what heaven was saying. It was a heaven-run society, right? Which has the best intentions for everybody. That's what the race is. We want a heaven-run society again. We want heaven on earth, right? So the adventures you're going to find, the people you're going to meet this year, you might, are going to just, I think, never leave your heart again. It's going to be an interesting year of how we kind of come together. Really interesting.
I agree. But, the interesting thing, too, I saw was there's going to be two energies fighting for power that's not a part of us. Mm-hmm. So we're going to kind of see these
galactic?
No, in the physical world, right? And they might be connected galactically too. And so
like two mob families fighting for territory kind of thing?
Right, type of thing. And I don't want to say Republicans versus Democrats type of thing.
It feels like those are puppets. Yeah.
Right, they're puppets. So it's like beyond those fighting, and then it's almost like they defeat themselves to where it becomes all about us. So we'll see that chaos, but understand that chaos is like destroying the actual problem. It's like the problem is eating itself in a sense, And so, and I think a lot of us will have that intuitive awareness with 2025. And I'm sure I'm sure you've had the same thing of like seeing a lot of moves in 2025 for a lot of people.
A lot of literal moves, physical moves.
Literal moves. Yeah. And I keep getting May and June for a lot of people of like moving, home buying, home selling, and new jobs, like just create movement. So let's not be distracted by, the hype of things. We've been through it before. Use our discernment, but understand where's spirit navigating us to collectively. And how we being moved around. And so then we'll always be, feeling on top and in control, and things we'll start seeing intuitively and psychically, things are actually falling in place for our benefit, even if it appears to be chaotic.
Yeah, that's the magic. It's hard to believe, but the universe only has one interest: true love and happiness. And so the only thing that keeps you from true love and happiness is your own stubbornness, it's your own resistance, it's your own fear of pain. So lighten up, everybody. Try to approach things from a vibe and give things just an open chance. Like, just fuck it, give it an open chance. Give it who cares? Let's try. Right.
Well, that's the biggest path to enlightenment is to lighten up. Right. So
totally lighten. Yeah, totally. Don't take it so seriously. Time out. Go do something fun. Eat something good. And some people ask me how do I find my heart? Ask your heart what it wants right now, what is it wish for right now, and go give it. When you put yourself in something you enjoy, you are in joy, okay? Right? When you are enjoying it, you are in joy. When you're in joy, that leads to the next joy. The one thing the heart wants is more and more joy. So I don't care if it's ice cream, I don't care how physical it is, I don't care if it's video games, I don't care if it's going to the bar with your friends and drinking and getting drunk. Who cares? If you enjoyed it, your heart is being fed, it's going to lead to the next thing, and that will lead to your tribe.
And a lot of people also, and to close, wrap that up on my end too with that, people sometimes don't resonate with the joy message because they're going through stuff. They're going through very, trying times. Oh, it's easy to say about joy. It's like, but understand these trying times is a gateway to your joy, right? Because what the soul and the heart wants is to evolve and to grow. That's where we have power. Is when we grow and evolve, and circumstances teach us how to do so. So if you really want to be in your heart's essence, if you're in trying times, is to understand what the message is teaching you through those trying times that's leading to joy. Because what you accomplish in life provides power, and that power makes you unstoppable. And I sound cliche about that, but that's why we're really here. So some people are trying to find the joy and they can't. It's a result when you accept the challenges and you grow from them. You know what I'm saying? And find your power through them, then joy becomes just a natural process, And so, because I get a lot of people, Christopher, as just like when I was younger and the trauma I went through, the bumper stickers didn't work for me. I was very pessimistic, at that time. And so as I evolved through my traumas, I'm like, I need to bring a message for those people, who are stuck in that rut that's going to resonate and hit home and ground it for them. And so, I think that it's easy when people realize when they are accepting that and growing from that and the power they have that joy is actually at their fingertips right now, And
Absolutely.
you and I both been through massive trauma in this incarnation.
Oh yeah.
Massive.
I should have a lot
of it's parallel. But now, it's easy to just understand that joy is just that can flip away because of what you've been through. So I like to be a testimony for that, for people who are going through tough times that they don't see the light at the end of the tunnel in that sense,
And my final word is there's no such thing as the word no in the universe.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as no. God never says no. God says not yet, but God never says no. So when people go to me, oh, it's impossible for this, it's impossible for that, they won't give me the food stamps. And then I'm like, I don't accept no for an answer, ever. And I got to tell you, I don't want to brag, but I've gotten around every rule. Every rule. There's always a back door. There's always someone you can bribe. There's always some little, did you know there's a secret passage? There's no such thing as no. There's only yes and not yet. So don't take no for an answer, period, people. There's another way around. And that said, I want you to say yes to my seminar this weekend on a Saturday, Countdown 2025. Don't forget, this is the time. If you like the coaching you got here, oh my goddess, I'm going to give you a lot of stuff. Come to senseiChristopher.com, purchase a ticket. I hope to see you online and chat with you on Saturn Day. I'm looking forward to it. Well, Scott, this is a great episode.
Well, and join me tonight too on my live show, because my topic, my topic tonight too is signs you have psychic abilities. So leading into what a surprise in the future, but this way can kind of identify and how to expand that too, like signs that you have psychic awareness. Tonight at 6 p.m., 9 p.m. Eastern time on my live show. Join me there, and for live readings, I'll be answering any type of questions that you have.
And by the way, that show is fun in the chat room. Everyone's having making jokes and having fun. My soul brother Daryl's there. Like, it's a little party. And I honestly, if you're home out and happy, go chat with Scott and feel the vibe.
Yeah, there's no holes. You be yourself. It's all encompassing. People accept everybody that come in. So
yes, it's very, very cool. Age of Aquarius there. All right, folks. Well, that's all we have for today. Thanks for watching. Remember, don't put up with a shift show. Lead out loud. We'll see you next week.
Bye, guys. We need to focus on. I was going to say to you, Christopher, we need to be focusing on affecting, not infecting people.
Affecting. I'm not sure what you mean by that, but that's cool.
You want to be affected. You want to affect people in a positive way. You don't want to infect them with anything.
Oh, no, totally. No, it's funny, too, because, making TV, you're tempted to, bring up something spooky to scare, and it's like, no, just being joyful is the best ingredient.
Yeah. Affect people in a positive way. You have to instill you in them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to instill tomorrow. I want to instill.
Oh, there.
Scott Cruz is popularly known for his life-changing one-on-one readings to also guide in your soul ascension journey. With life readings, get insight into your relationships, career, health, trauma healings, past life regressions, and more. Want to connect with a loved one who's transitioned? Scott's mediumship session can be the gateway to you and your loved ones in spirit bridging the gap between the physical and the spiritual realm. If you want to enhance your own psychic ability, Scott's Intuition Builder session can help expand your psychic and mediumship abilities. So sign on to scottcruzpm.com to book your own personal session today.